We had one sort of general chit chat video with some motivation about what limit of a function is. So today is the first formal class towards that. So the new chapter is limits of real functions. Going to definition, suppose you and your long lost friend are traveling in the two-dimensional plane to meet through the magenta, this one, and the teal path respectively. So this is your friend, this is you, and this is your friend. Okay. So an animation of the same can be found here. Two of you are coming and not able to meet at a particular point. So this is the animation. Now, two of you fixed a time to meet. You fixed a time to meet, but out of excitement, forgot to set a meeting place. So at the prefixed time, both of you reached at places each of you seemed approachable. So you reached at this point, just like over here, you reached at this point, you seemed this place approachable from your point of view, and your friend reached over here. So she found that this is the point, this is the place approachable for her. Okay. So at the prefixed time, the time is fixed at this point. So this is the time axis. This is the time axis. So this is say time equal to say t naught. So at this time, you are approaching to this point, and she is approaching to this point. So at the prefixed time, both of you reached at places each of you seemed approachable, but unfortunately couldn't meet each other, as is the case in the accompanying figure, because there are some gap over here. Okay. This is the concept of limit of a function in a crude sense. When a function is not defined at a particular point, like the undefined meeting place. Okay, so you consider consider your meeting place as a function over time. So therefore, at the time t equal to t naught, meeting place is not defined. So when the function is not defined at a particular point, like the undefined meeting place, we look for its behavior in some surrounding of it. All right. What happens to if we look at some time before or after this way? So we look for its behavior in some surrounding of it. Now, to make sense of the surrounding, we ask the point in concern to be a limit point of the domain, so that it is approachable through the other points in the domain. If your friend isolates herself due to the COVID situation, there is simply no way you can meet her. Okay, so this point you are considering, this point should be a limit point of the domain of the function, so that it is approachable. Now if somebody is sitting over here alone, there is no point of talking about limits to converge to this point. Let's say I take a point 15,0. Okay, so if I am sitting at this point alone, there is no point, way that somebody can reach me. Depending, doesn't matter whether I'm here or here or here or here. It doesn't matter as long as I'm sitting isolated. So a limit, talking about limit is only feasible when the point concerned is a limit point of the domain. The explanation that why do we need limit points, we will see in a while. So after this, motivated from this observation, we set the definition of limit of a function. What is? Let D be a non-empty subset of R and C be a limit point of D. A function from D to R, a real valued function from over D is said to have limit L at the point C if for all epsilon positive there exists a delta such that for every x in that deleted delta neighborhood of C intersection D, we have the distance of fx from L is smaller than epsilon. All right. For all epsilon positive, there exists delta positive such that for every x in the deleted delta neighborhood intersection D, we have fx minus L less than epsilon. Now, we will come back to this definition to investigate this more thoroughly. Before that, let us see some remarks. Note that the above definition does not require the function to be undefined at C. In the other one, in this slide, I told you that we talk about limit at a point where the function is undefined, like the undefined meeting place. But the definition over here does not require the function to be undefined. It can be either defined or undefined. Does not matter. Look at this C. C is a limit point of D. Now, depending on the choice of D being a closed set or not closed, C can be an element of D or maybe outside of it. And D is the domain of the function. So we do not know whether the function f is defined at C or not. So there is no hard and fast rule that f should be undefined or f should be defined at C. Even when, so continuing the remark, even when the discussion on limit of functions thrives on the behavior of the functions at those critical points where the function is not defined but the point is a limit point of the domain, we certainly look forward to adapt a more inclusive definition to investigate the behavior of function at all approachable points. Okay, so whenever C is a limit point of the domain, we can talk about limit of the function, irrespective of the function whether that is defined at the point or not. Fine. Next one, this remark is the remark why we need C to be a limit point of the domain. Okay. Though we remove the constraint of the function being defined or undefined at the concerned point C, say, we cannot possibly get away with the necessity that C must be a limit point of the domain. The above definition is devised so that it excludes the possibility that C can be an isolated point of the domain D. Isolated point is a point in the set which is not a limit point. This will be a subset of R. An isolated point of S is a point in S which is not a limit point. Okay, now suppose S is 0, 1, so this is my 0, 1 interval and this is say 2, point 2. Now the point 2 is there with S. Now this one is completely isolated from the rest of the set. So that is why there is nothing with 2 of the set. So that is why this is a point this is an isolated point of the set. A limit point, understand, a limit point is a point which attracts many points. So suppose this point 1 over here, suppose this is my point 1, okay, this is my point 0, this is my point 0, and this is my point 1, and this is my point 2, let's say. So this point 1 over here, this is a limit point. The point 1 does not belong to S, but still this is a limit point because it attracts many of the points, infinitely many of the points from the set, but it does not belong to the set. Now understand this thing, that the point 1.5, 1.5, that point is also a sort of isolated point. This is not a limit point from the set, but this set, this point 1.5 does not have any relation with the set. So why will I be considered about this point while we are talking about the set F? So that is why an isolated point, we look for those points inside the set specifically which are not limit points. That is why they are isolated points. They have some isolation around them which will be evitable from the if we expand this definition of not a limit point. Okay. So what is the definition of limit point? Definition of limit point is the limit point of S if for all delta positive, so every deleted neighborhood of C intersects the set S. So what will be the opposite of this negation of this definition? So C is C, let me write this one, C belongs to S is not a limit point of S if exists a particular delta such that this one will be equal to 5. It is not a limit point and belongs to the set. That means there exists a delta such that the delta neighborhood around C does not have any other point from the set F. So this is C. You see from at 2 there is no other point in some neighborhood of 2. Okay, only 2 is there. So that is the definition of isolated point. Now, so we were discussing about why we need C to be a limit point of the domain. So though we remove the constraint of the function being defined or undefined at the concerned point C, we cannot possibly get away with the necessity that C must be a limit point of the domain. The above definition is revised so that it excludes the possibility that C can be an isolated point of the domain D. Okay. To see this fact, let's consider C be an isolated point of D. Then, by definition, there exists a delta such that the delta neighborhood of C intersection D is only C. Hence, the condition that for all x, understand this line. This is extremely important. Hence, the condition that for all x in the deleted delta neighborhood of C intersection D, the distance of fx from L less than epsilon will be satisfied vacuously for any real number L. So the condition that this one, so x is in this one. Now what about this set? Phi empty. So there is no such x here. So therefore, this condition, fx minus 1 is less than epsilon, will be satisfied. Fx minus 10 less than epsilon will be satisfied because we do not have anything to check with. We do not have such an x to compare over here. This x does not exist. So if this L is 0, this is satisfied. If this L is minus 100, this is satisfied. If this L is minus root 2, this is satisfied. If this L is root 2 to the power 10 billion, this is satisfied. So this inequality is satisfied for any real number L. That is the reason. Okay. So we simply cannot afford to have a limit L to be indefinite. Fine. So that is why we need in the definition of limit of a function that the point C must be a limit point of the domain. Whether it belongs to domain or not, that is completely irrelevant, but the point C must be a limit point of the domain. Pictorial interpretation. Okay. In this figure, so let me keep this definition ready over here. So this says that f is said to have a limit L at the point if for all epsilon positive there exists delta such that this thing happens. Now let me reiterate the definition of convergence of a sequence. Sequence xn converges to L or say x if what was our point? For all epsilon greater than 0, there exists k in n double in such that uh, mod of xn minus L is smaller than epsilon. This happens for all such that for all in greater uh, such that in greater than or equal to k, this thing is true. This thing is true. Okay, so this is the definition of convergence of a sequence. Now over here, if we observe this thing a little closely, we see that we take an epsilon, then we try to find a bound on the independent variable. In case of sequence, the independent variable is n. That is the independent variable. We try to seek for a suitable domain for independent variable, so that the dependent variable is close enough to the limit value. This is the definition of convergence. Exactly this one is transferred over here. We took an epsilon, then we look for a suitable neighborhood of the independent variable. Here the independent variable is x. Here the independent variable is x. So we are looking for a suitable neighborhood of the independent variable. So this is the suitable neighborhood delta, such that whenever x is in the delta neighborhood of C intersection D, of course, x is in the delta neighborhood of C, we have the fx minus L is smaller than epsilon. All right, so this is the entire thing. This is exactly like we did in the case of sequences. There is no difference over here, no difference at all. So all epsilon positive, there is this delta, such that for every x in the deleted neighborhood, this is my that suitable neighborhood for the independent variable x. We have this thing satisfying. So let us see this one pictorially in figure 1 at the point C. So figure 1 has got two branches coming from the different directions at the point C. Both the branches of the function is approaching to the same height. Both of them are approaching to the same height. Now see, at C they are not defined. At C, you see closely, there is a gap. There is a gap at C. Okay, so they are approaching to the same height. Call the height L. So this height is L. This height is L. Okay, this height is L. So this one is L. Height L, and consider a symmetric epsilon band around it. L minus epsilon to L plus epsilon. Symmetric band. We have seen this in the sequences as well. For that choice of epsilon, you get a particular delta. As shown in the figure, such that for any point except C, of course, in that interval, the functional values are within the symmetric epsilon band around L. So C minus delta to C plus delta, if x is in between the C minus delta to C plus delta, then fx is within this band over here. Within this, the functional values are within this L minus epsilon to L plus epsilon. All right, so that is what it means. That is what it means to have the definition of the limit. For all x is in the related delta neighborhood of C, the fx minus L is smaller than epsilon. Fx minus L is smaller than epsilon. So this portion of the branch, they are more than epsilon distance from L, but within this C minus delta to C plus delta, everything is within this bound. Fine. On the other hand, in this figure 2, at point C, different branches are not approaching to the same height. This is coming at this height, this is coming at this height. So if you consider an epsilon band between the difference of the height, just like over here, the difference between the height from both sides, there cannot exist any neighborhood of C. There cannot exist any neighborhood. How close you make this delta, you can make this delta as close to 0 as you want, but still this will not solve the purpose. Okay, you can squeeze this C minus delta to C plus delta neighborhood. So there cannot exist any neighborhood of C so that the functional values at all points inside the neighborhood fall within the epsilon band. So every time the functional values are outside this epsilon band, L minus epsilon naught to L plus epsilon naught. Here epsilon naught is a particular epsilon naught for which this works, and here when in case of limit exists, epsilon can be anything. If you squeeze this epsilon band, L minus epsilon to L plus epsilon, you need to squeeze delta a little bit more as well. Okay, so this is pictorial interpretation of limits.